Hello, everybody. You're very welcome to another episode of Chatting With. My name is Mehernan McEvely and I'm the owner of Secret Ireland Tours. On tonight's episode, we're speaking with another ambassador for one of our tours. Her name is Jane Brigger. She's the owner and founder of Celtic Wise Woman Spirituality. She also has a healing cottage, destination of peace, healing and tranquility. And she also is the author of a very well-known blog called Sacred Reflections of the Healing Cottage. Mary Jane, as I said, is our ambassador for our Healing Wisdom of a Celtic Druidess tour in June of 2023. The tour goes from the 1st of June to the 9th of June, and it is a series of workshops by a Druidess who lives in County Kerry. She will be teaching you healing through art, nature and traditions. So Mary Jane is going to tell us all about her life and how it led her to her spirituality, teaching and healing, and how the Healing Cottage came about and the blog came about. And then we're going to take the second half of the programme and we're going to talk about that very special tour that maybe you'll join us on. So please like, share and make comments, or if you have questions, please feel free to do so. Hang with us for about 30-40 minutes and hear all about the Druidess over in Ireland and the spiritual healer that is Mary Jane Brigger. Well, here we are again chatting with Mary Jane Brigger. Mary Jane is from Salem, Ohio, as I said at the introduction, and Mary Jane is our ambassador for our very exciting Healing Wisdom of a Celtic Druidess tour in 2023, June 2023. But Mary Jane has had a very interesting journey from the time she was full-time working with dentist offices and we'll go back, Mary Jane, and we'll tell us your story, because it's a very interesting story, and I'm sure, like you, many people have gone through similar kind of situations as well and might not have found themselves in the position that you found yourself in. So
I always laugh. I think people who knew me 20 years ago would never believe I'm doing what I'm doing today, because I was a dental assistant. This began I went back to school at 38, got my certification in dental assisting, and went on to get a bachelor's degree in healthcare management, all while raising 4 children.
yeah.
Many of us can recognize that. But I've had an amazing life and career, and I was in dentistry for over 25 years. And I began in hospital dentistry, which is very unique. It is not like traditional dentistry. So sometimes when you look at how this goes forward, you can kind of see where I went. But we worked with medically compromised people. So we ruled out infection, we did pathology, we made prostheses for the faces and the mouths. And within there, I worked with a lot of terminal patients. So I think that's when some of the seed was planted. Yeah. So after I left there, I worked a mobile dental van for downtown Cleveland, which I really loved. We brought dentistry to children. But then I got my degree in healthcare management, and I moved into management. And so for the next several years after that, I actually managed group dental offices. I developed programs and designed dental assisting clinics for teaching. So we kept moving forward. I ran large pediatric dental clinics, and something was wrong. And I decided I needed to get out of this high stress job into a low stress job. Moved down to running a large office in dentistry as a dental practice manager, and collapsed one day at work. Collapsed. I mean, I went down on the ground. Unfortunately, it was the day the office was closed and we only had one dentist working, and I literally had to crawl down and peek in the office and say, help.
Wow.
And after that, after a series of tests, we found out that I had an extreme form of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, which was diagnosed at the Cleveland Clinic Foundation. So needless to say, I had to leave work in my life. I have to say that part of my life set the foundation for what happened later, because I worked with so many different people. I worked a long time with people who suffered.
Yeah.
A long time for people who passed over also, because I also was a hospice Reiki volunteer. And so it was during my darkest moments that I realized what happened. And when I started asking that question, to kind of fast forward here, I pulled out a book off my bookcase that I had bought at a bookstore like 5 years before. And I thought, this is the most boring book I've ever bought in my life. I put it on my bookshelf. And I kept hearing a voice saying, go get that book. So finally I gave in, got the book, and it was by Carolyn Mace. It was called The Mansions from St. Teresa of Avila, where you go through each room of your soul to kind of uncover what is wrong. And like that, things start clicking in. Soon after that, I found these wonderful gentlemen in San Francisco who were mystics and healers themselves. And I flew out and spent 4 days with them for healing, for inner healing, physical healing. And I'll tell you, may everything changed. These are amazing men. They're mystics, they're shamans. And I ended up studying under them for the next 2 to 3 years. Flew out there. So that's where I became a Reiki master. That's where I became a death midwife. This is where I became I was trapped body story expert. But what it really did is it opened up my intuition. And I truly felt my soul touched. Came home and began a Reiki business. And as the more I did Reiki, I took it to hospice. I did it privately in my home. And as the more I practiced, I had a lot of things happening to me spiritually and mystically. And one was, you're to work with women to help them to accept themselves and open their intuition. So I started to notice every client coming was having that. And we moved forward through that, and more women start coming to the cottage. And it just blossomed into sacred women empowerment circles. But I have to say, underneath it all, after an experience out there where I was holding a soul school, a shaman was visiting, holding a soul school. And while I was there, he did an anointing on me. And I literally fell backwards and went into a trance. And immediately I met all the goddesses. I mean, every culture there was. And then one came and I visually was watching them, and she called the Great Mother. And from that day on, I've been channeling them, and they call themselves the Sisterhood. So I have this amazing life out here now that went from corporate America to now reaching out to help and empower other women. And underneath it all the entire time, always ran my Irish roots.
There you go.
I didn't actually recognize it for a long time until I began to realize and feel drawn to things. And our trip, when I went to our trip, I had a medium tell me what was going to happen. And she was right. And upon our trip, it was like, I said, I'm going back to meet the land. I'm going back to meet my ancestors. And I did. So here I am today.
And that's how we met, because Mary Jane joined one of our Secret Ireland Tours trips in 2019, was it, Mary Jane?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I brought them to some very sacred places and some very powerful places. And Mary Jane, you kind of connected with an awful lot of it at the time.
Oh my goodness. I think I was on my own journey there many times, but I was with my sister. So my sister Annie, we did a lot together, but I had some very, very powerful and mystical experiences on our trip that I'll be honest with you, every day I think about. Every day I think about it. They were that powerful. And there truly is a magic there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived in America all my life. I'm an American, but it truly was like going back home. But when you reach out to touch the land of the spirit, and that's what's so wonderful about your tours, May. I'm just tingling here. Now, if I start crying, don't be, because I do. But I am just literally tingling here. Your tours are so personal. It's one thing, but I felt like your best friend when I just had met you in the airport. And but the whole tour, you took us to so many places we have never seen. I came back home and told people, went to Ireland, and they say, "Oh, what'd you do?" And I said, "I did this, that." And I go, "Oh, we didn't do that." And I says, "Well, you're on the wrong tour." But
Yeah, that's the thing, Mary.
beautiful.
You see, going with the local, and of course, being a musician and being a Reiki master, and being somebody who's very, very connected to my roots, and knowing all these places. I mean, I grew up around these places, and I know the magic of them, and I know the power of them, and you know, it's how can I explain it? It's a kind of a sacred thing to be able to share it with people. And that was one of the very reasons I set up the tour company, because I saw people arriving in Ireland on big buses, and they jump out and they take photographs and they jump back into the bus again. And they never got the sense of the country, or they never got the sense of what they were looking at. And I mean, Ireland, I mean, we've got ancient sites that predate the pyramids. And a lot of it is only known to the locals, you know.
Yeah,
And for anyone who can feel the power of those places, it's kind of a shame that they would come to Ireland and would not get the opportunity to visit them.
that's very true. Because my daughter went to Ireland the year before, and she was just there 3 days. I think the only place she really got was Bunratty Castle, which, by the way, this one of the things I got from there. I'm wearing my gifts. I brought back.
Yeah.
But actually, I got this in Dublin, but I have something else. But anyway, the point is that when I tell people, they can't believe it. I mean, you're absolutely right. We all, and I can pretty speak for everybody on this tour, we all, where you took us, really touched our souls.
Yeah.
And I was amazed how often we were driving somewhere, be a castle way back in the woods up on a hill.
Yeah.
Or just, you would see an old house and you knew it was, I mean, I don't think anything in Ireland. You go, we went to one place, I remember it was dated back to 600 something.
Yes.
And that's natural there, right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Yes, it is. And you took us to the real sacred spots. As soon as we would get off the bus, I mean, you'd step in that land. And there were some places you took us, we were the only people there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when you really, really, really feel the land. And there was times everybody was quiet, just soaking up that magic. So that's yeah, your tour changed my life. I'm so grateful to meet you.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I have to say,
It's really Ireland that changed your life, Mary Jane. It wasn't my tour.
it was, well, you have to be with the right people and on the right path. And the other thing I would tell people that really made this tour special was your singing, May. May would burst into song on the bus when we'd be traveling somewhere, and it was gorgeous. But that I told her the story the other day. Okay, here come the tears. Now I'm gonna hold back. But we were up on Carrickeel, and talk about a sacred site.
It is, yeah.
And all of a sudden I heard this beautiful voice singing, and I turned around, and there were you, standing on this beautiful mountain. And you said you don't even remember what you were singing, but I said, no, she's out of body. That still touches my soul.
Yeah. And that particular place, for people who are listening to us, Carrickeel is an underground passage tomb. It is one of 14 up on this mountain range called the Brickleaf Mountains. It's in South Sligo, but it actually predates the pyramids by 800 years. And if you go right directly across the country, you will get to Newgrange, which is more well known. Newgrange is an underground passage tomb as well, and that predates the pyramids by 500 years.
Oh,
But the cairns. What you went under, that underground passage to 'em, it's called a cairn.
Yeah.
It's the stone covering the stone mound over the underground passage to 'em. And there's 14 of those on the brick cliffs, but right across the country there are more. And if you look up at the sky at any particular time of the year, it mirror images what's on the ground at certain times of the year.
Oh my gosh,
And
that is
actually,
funny.
Carrowkeel, the summer solstice will the sun will light the inner chambers on the 21st of June, and then
Oh,
right opposite the country in Newgrange, it's the winter solstice.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
Oh,
and
I knew winter
actually,
solstice for Newgrange, but oh my
yeah,
goodness.
and it's amazing, Mary Jane. They didn't have the technology that we have, but they had
No,
something a lot more valuable.
it certainly did.
Yes, and that particular place, New Carrowkeel. Um, I lived about 5 miles from it as the crow flies before I moved to America. So I would have spent a lot of time up there. But there's a town called Boyle, which is about 7 miles from it. And there was this woman in Boyle who swore that UFOs used to hover around Carrowkeel. Because there's ley lines up there. There's a very powerful energy up
Yes.
there. And she was kind of laughed at in the town. But this German guy came over and he kind of hung around with her. And now I never met him, but I heard that he reckoned that he can foretell when they're going to come. Because they come on a regular basis. And he has studied this. And he can foretell when the UFOs are going to come.
Oh my goodness.
So there's definitely something to it, And
Yeah.
where we lived out in the middle of the country. And my middle son, was with his friend who lived about 2 miles from our house. Now, when I tell you, this is like this is the country, right? It was a
Hmm.
place like this I lived in. There was no lights. It was the light of the moon and the stars. We didn't have houses around us. We didn't have towns around us. We didn't have light pollution around us. It was basically the moon and the stars. And if the moon wasn't out, you didn't see anything, you know. But
Yeah.
anyway, they were coming home from his friend's house one night, and they walk into the house, and I can see that both of them are kind of shook. And I says, "What's wrong?" And I said, "God, you look like you've seen a ghost." And they said, "Well, we didn't see a ghost, but we saw something, and we don't know what it is." And I says, "What?" There was a light in the sky that was going zoom back and forth. It was going very fast, and then it stopped, and then it broke off into three lights, and it
Oh
disappeared.
my.
So putting that together with the stories of the UFOs, yeah, I tend to believe that there's something, because
I
when
do
I
too.
go up there, I can feel the energy up there. I have seen what I would regard as fairies up there. And
Yes.
I've gone up there at times totally on my own, and you can hear the wind and you can hear the birds, and you're
Mhm.
at peace with nature, and things happen up there, definitely.
I definitely believe that. I know myself. I connected with a spirit up there
Yeah.
who became like a buddy, but I also had other experiences. And you have to physically be there to really know, because when we're talking about Carrickeel, we're not talking something that you just walk up to. We
Yeah.
were in sheep pastures,
Yeah.
and we walk up it was a pebble path, and you're walking past sheep. And then, in fact, I was telling my husband about this last night. I said, then it was time to go up to Carrickeel. And he says, I said, and you better know how to climb.
Yeah.
Because I said, we climbed up that hill. And then and I said, I mean, literally climb. You had to, but that's the beauty of it. You are touching the earth.
Yeah.
You are, the whole time you're walking up there into magic. And then you get up there and you see it. And then you see all of
Scenery.
Ireland.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I was doing when I was there, and it was fun, we got other people to start doing it too, is I immediately laid on the ground and attuned to the energy
Yeah.
of Mother Nature or the spirits there.
Yeah.
And wow, you could just feel the energy coming within you. And some of the people there who did that went on to have, they said, I don't know what happened, but it turned something on because they were having mystical experiences almost everywhere they went.
Yeah.
And let's just put it this way, when I went up to the top, I was one person. When I came down, I was a different one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, talking about magic and healing and everything like that, I'm going to share the screen because I want to show people your cottage, your healing
Thank
cottage.
you. Yes.
I think that would be very interesting because we haven't talked about that yet.
No,
So, share. Let's see. There you go. Here it is, Mary Jane.
yes.
Talk
Yes.
about it. Tell us about it.
Oh, I tell you what, it's called the Healing Cottage, and I did not name it. My clients named it.
Okay.
And I live out in Wayne County, Ohio, and this is farm country out here.
Mhm.
We're the largest county
There
of
you go. There's
farmland.
in
And
the woods, in the forest.
this is looking out from the cottage, because inside the cottage is floor to ceiling windows. So once you walk in, you're seeing nothing but nature. And I have a deck around it that you can walk out on, and we've done a lot of healing ceremonies out there. And this actually is on my property. Across the driveway is my home. And then within the cottage here, as you can see,
There's the cake again.
yep, this is Lady Empowerment.
Oh,
And
lovely.
you can see her right from wherever you sit in the cottage. And there you can see inside the cottage where the middle there where we hold circles. We hold we call it sacred women empowerment circles.
Yeah.
And as you can see the beauty, we just look outside and you can see Lady Empowerment back there.
Yeah, it is
And
beautiful.
we have the women who come here have had a lot of mystical experiences. We have things happen within the circles that are very exciting. The fairies like to come, and everybody loves it when the knocking starts. We'll start getting knocks on windows or on the floors, and some of the women are very strong clairvoyantly, and they see a great deal. So I always make sure they're looking out the windows there. This is actually a one-room cottage. I have a full bath, believe it, and what they call a gallery kitchen here. But I'll tell you what, May, it is one of the most amazing feelings out there. I had clients out there all last week, and no one wants to leave. They all call it home.
Yeah, yeah.
Those who come out there are regulars. They always walk in and call it home. And there's the energy of being out in the woods like that. You pull in all of nature.
Yeah.
And because I also live in Amish country, a lot of times the noise you hear are the buggies going by and horse hooves.
Yeah.
And so that's always very exciting for
It's
people.
beautiful. I mean, you can see it all the way around. You've got the woods all the way around. And have you any rivers flowing or creeks flowing?
Yes, I do. Right behind that, I have a creek that flows. And sometimes, like right now, it's just rushing because some of it's melting. And my grandchildren call it the rapids.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's just a beautiful flowing creek, which I would go down with my dog, and we would walk up and down, and we listen to the water fairies. Yeah. And it's beautiful because you can hear harmony in the flow.
Oh, yes.
But this was something that I had always hoped for. And when my husband and I decided to move from upside Cleveland, this was the very last house after a 2-year search. And we were ready to give up, and we literally pulled in the driveway. We got out of the car and looked at each other and said, it was amazing. We said it together, we're home.
There you
and
go.
Then we went to the cottage, and then even my realtor was like, oh, this place was not for you. She said.
So how long have you operated in this cottage now? How long has this?
I have been here since 2014. So what is it? I got to do math, 8 years now.
Yeah, wow.
And it's amazing. That's a big oak tree in front of the house there. So I mean, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah, exactly.
And but we've had I do a lot of Reiki healing in there. Like I said, group circles. I also do private spirit channelings, private spirit messages. Uh,
How can people contact you if they wanted an appointment with you, Mary Jane?
they can just go right to my website. It says maryjanebrigger.com.
Okay.
And I also do private readings on Zoom.
Wait, let's just see. I want to just get you on gallery. I don't know why it
Here we
is
are.
like this. Hold on. Increase this. There we are. Yeah, so yeah. Because definitely, I'm sure there's an awful lot of people who could use your help, and a lot of people who want to connect with their own kind of inner
Yeah.
being as well.
They
And
do. We do. And I also have a beautiful backyard that is also very magical. So very often we'll go into the backyard and work back there. And I'm planning some events out there this year, but it's nobody. I always say whoever comes here is supposed to come here. And I said, you're not the same woman when you leave.
exactly.
And so yeah, we've got a nice. It's beautiful out here. It is truly magical. When I say it's magical, it truly is, and everybody who's come here will agree with me.
Well, you know what we'll do? We will have a break, and we'll come back and talk about the tour that you are
Yes.
our ambassador. All right, so people, hang with us and join us for the second half, and we'll talk about the tour. Thinking about taking a vacation abroad? Check out our tour companies, Secret Ireland Tours LLC.com and IrelandandMore.com. We have an array of different vacations available for you to choose from. We have groups of 12, we have groups of 24, and if you have a private group of more than 24, we can accommodate you. We can also offer you consultation services if you want to put an itinerary together yourself. Or we have packages for those of you who would not like to be part of a group. Secret Ireland Tours LLC.com or IrelandandMore.com. Really come over with us. You're going to have a fantastic time. So thank you very much, everybody, for returning to our second half of Chatting with Mary Jane Brigger. We have talked about Mary Jane's spiritual healing centre and her journey to where she is now. But we're going to talk about a different journey now. We are doing a tour together. Mary Jane is going to be our ambassador. We're very excited about it. We have a friend over in Ireland. She is actually from Brittany. Her name is Rachel Sozak Lenahan. And Rachel, I met Rachel probably, I suppose, maybe 20 years ago. She is an amazing musician. She's a multi instrumentalist, but she recorded a track on one of my CDs. She backed me on one of my songs. So that's how I got to know
Oh,
Rachel
wow.
years and years ago. And at the time, she was in Dublin and she was teaching and she was playing music at the time. And I brought her down to Sligo and I brought her actually to Carrowkeel. And we went underground into the passage tomb, and she's very psychic. She's a medium. She's a psychic medium as well, and she heard an old language. She is a PhD in Irish studies, and she speaks Irish. She's from Brittany. She speaks Breton, and she speaks French. But this language, she didn't recognize it. She didn't understand it. She heard it, and she said that it was an older language altogether. It wasn't even old Irish, it was older than that again. So anyhow, her dream always was that she would find her own place around the west because she was very connected to the west and the ocean, and she didn't know whether she would end up in County Kerry or County Galway. And at that time I was recording CDs, and we both had our own dreams, but she was always very interested in spirituality and Druidism and healing and, all of this. So she spent a long time, but she found her center, she found her house. She ended up growing her own food. She built an amazing center there in
Oh,
Kerry. She's right beside the ocean. She's not too far away from the ocean at all. She teaches music, she teaches languages, she teaches healing through arts. She uses the arts like crystal bowls and metal bowls and the sounds of nature. She teaches you how to tune into them. She is a druidess and she teaches Celtic druidism and healing through arts, nature, and traditions. She's
Speaking to my heart here, May. Keep going.
I know she's an amazing. She's an amazing individual. She has a heart like no other. Um, she is just highly knowledgeable on traditions and mystical um, myths and legends. She knows her surroundings inside out. The particular place she lives in, she is surrounded by ancient ruins and very, very magical walks and trails as well. So the centre is in a place called Kildare in Milltown in County Kerry. And we will be going there we'll be staying in Killarney. It's only about 20 minutes from Killarney. So we'll have the nightlife of Killarney during the night, but
All right.
we have 5 workshops. We've organised 5 workshops with, there's your dog. All right.
My husband just pulling in, so
That's all
I
right.
apologize for
That's
that.
all right. That's all right because I had a dog do something yesterday evening when I was doing a Zoom. But we have 5 workshops. She'll be doing workshops for 5 mornings. Then we'll have 2 walking trails. She'll bring us around these magical
Oh my
places.
goodness.
2 walking trails. I think you're going to be doing one of the evenings of healing as well in her centre. Maybe 2 evenings, I'm not quite sure. We're also going to have local musicians in and we're going to be playing music in her centre. And we're going to be taking two afternoons where we're just going to go out touring, 2 evening like afternoons, and then there'll be 2 full days where we're going to go out touring as well. We're going to be going around the Ring of Kerry. I'm going to share my screen again, Mary
Oh my
Jane,
goodness.
and
Yes.
show people the web page and show people.
Oh, it's so beautifully laid out, your itinerary on the webpage, May.
So this is what, if you go on to secretirelandtoursllc.com, you'll see a web page for the tour, but then you'll see a link about the itinerary. And you'll see the itinerary, but you'll also get a link that'll bring you into this web page, which is the itinerary plus the payment platform. So if anyone wanted to book, this is where you do it. And we're only limiting to what, 24 people, isn't that right, Mary Jane?
24, correct.
Yeah, because we have to have only that limited amount to make it comfortable in the center. And so that's the top of it. Um, per person sharing is 2,150, which is not bad because you have a 9 day, 8 night tour. You will be getting 5 workshops with a highly qualified um, mystic, I could call her, or druidess,
Yes, you could, yeah.
high priestess, and you have healing with Mary Jane. You will have musicians, you will have walking trails, and we will be going out during the 2 days, 2 full days of exploring and 2 afternoons of exploring. And we'll be staying in a beautiful hotel in Killarney. And lunch is covered, breakfast is covered, lunch is covered, and all that. So we'll just go down and we'll just see the itinerary. This is, you'll see here on this page, you'll see everything that's included in your price. You can see the list there of what's included in your price, and then what's not included in the price. So here we go for the first day. Now people will not be flying into Dublin this time, Mary Jane.
Right,
They'll be flying into Shannon.
right. I find that exciting, somewhere different.
Yeah. So you'll be flying into the west of the country, not the east.
Yep.
And the very first day, we'll pick you up in the afternoon in Shannon Airport, and we'll bring you to Bunratty Castle.
I've been there.
Bunratty Castle is it's famous, and there's a folk park there as well. And we'll
Oh,
spend
it's
a couple of
great.
hours there. And I know that people will be kind of jet lagged, so we can spend maybe 2 hours there, and then we'll make our way down to Killarney, and people can settle in for the evening and organise themselves with something to eat and settle in and get rid of their jet lag. And then the next morning, you're going to start learning. You're going to school, guys.
All right.
So this is Rachel, and this is a stone, a very magical stone on her
Oh,
land. And she has all her own food, and she has apple trees, and she's the whole works, and she's totally attuned to nature. So the first workshop, um, I have a funny feeling, I don't know whether I wrote down here or not, but I did write, what did I say? Get ready for the first school, a school of mystical, magical kind, where you will learn about healing with sounds, listen to nature, opening portals of sound through sacred sounds, gaining knowledge to crystal bowls, metal bowls, tuning forks, and magical chanting. And then we'll break for lunch. This will be from, the workshops are from 10 o'clock to 1 on the 5 days that we're doing them. And
That's
then we'll
wonderful.
break for lunch 1 o'clock to 2, which we will have in the centre. We have somebody coming in to do lunch for us.
Oh,
And then
wonderful.
in the afternoon, that day 2 afternoon, we will be doing magical ancient trails near the centre. And then that will be for about 2 hours, and then we will return back to Killarney, and people can enjoy the facilities at the hotel, or they can go exploring Killarney. Killarney is a great place. There's great music and entertainment in it at night time.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
yeah, so that's number 2 day. Number 3 day, we will do a workshop in the morning. You learn about 5 elements of earth, fire, air, water, and ether in relation to the wheel of the year, and the 3 realms and the 3 cauldrons. So that's what she'll be teaching us the second or the 3rd day. And then we'll break for lunch. And then that evening, I'm going to bring you all around the Dingle Peninsula, and we'll visit
Wow,
the. So
I
it's
can't
beautiful.
wait.
I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's breathtakingly beautiful. There's no doubt about
Oh,
it. So that's day 3. Day 4, isn't that gorgeous?
oh
For,
my goodness.
for day 4, we're not, we're classes out for day 4. We're going to do the whole day. We're going to go around the Ring of Kerry. So we'll first of all we will visit a place called the Bog Garden, and the Bog Garden, or no, the Bog Village it's called, and it's a village that was created by this man who owns a bar um, on the beginning of the Ring of Kerry, and you can go in and see how we lived years and years and years ago. And then we'll go around the ring. We'll have plenty of places to stop and take absolutely mind-boggling photos. We
Yes.
will visit Sneem, we'll visit Waterville. Actually, Charlie Chaplin used to come and visit, spent holidays in Waterville. There's a statue
Really?
of him. Yeah, there's a statue of him in the village.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so you can take a photograph with Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
We go around then by Sneem, and then we will visit Turk Waterfall. We'll visit Ladies View. There's so many places that we will stop.
Oh,
We'll spend the whole day going around the Ring of Kerry and just hopping out of the bus and taking photographs, because it's absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. And then we'll get back to Killarney at night, and people can go off to the pubs or do whatever they want to do. And then day 5, workshop again. We learn about Celtic power animals using mythology and the direct encounter, also through Celtic
oh,
shamanistic journeys. We'll break for
oh,
lunch, and then we'll have a walking trail for 2 or 3 hours that evening. And there's Rachel in her purple. She
oh my.
plays 14 different instruments.
Oh, 14. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And she reads, and she writes. She's a songwriter as well.
Oh
So
my
she's, yeah.
goodness.
So there's some of her friends. You'd never know. We might meet some of them. So day 6, that's Om writing. So workshop. Today you learn about Om and the sacred tree knowledge, the main sacred trees, the common trees and bushes, functions and applications in day-to-day living. And then we'll break for lunch, and then we'll have you doing a healing session, Mary Jane.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes. Day 7 is Ring of Bearer. So this is our second day, where we're going to be taking the full day, and we're going to be going around the Ring of Bearer.
Oh,
And it is again breathtakingly beautiful, and again it's full of ancient sites and everything like that. So that's what we'll be doing on the day 7, and day 8 will be our last workshop and music session. So we learn the knowledge and wisdom of the 4 seasons, Druidistic rituals, and 8 points wheel of the year. Learn about land and main functions. That should be ley lines, shouldn't be key
yeah.
lines. It should be ley lines. Um, Time
Uh,
and space clearing, lunar year, magic we're working with the scythe, and how to invoke whatever that is.
Yes, right there. I have it behind me.
Yeah, yes. So we'll be doing all that. Then we'll break for lunch, and then we will spend our last evening with our Druidess playing music, singing songs,
Oh,
dancing, and having a great time. And then the following day, we'll bring you back to the airport again. So it really is going to be a magical, and I mean, you're going to be learning from a Druidess that, yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity of a lifetime for
it
people
is.
who are into spiritual healing and shamanistic healing and druidistic healing, you know.
Oh, definitely. This is truly the trip of a lifetime, and I completely agree with you. We are going to be learning and experiencing knowledge and wisdom from Rachel that you can't get anywhere
You
else.
can't get anywhere else. No.
No,
I
and
mean,
us right there on the land. Just as I'm talking, I'm just
yeah.
tingling all over. But
And it, you know, hopefully we'll be able to do this every year. It'd be great if we could do it every year. But this this first year will be June the 1st to the 9th, 2023.
yeah,
And it really will be a special time. And I have a funny feeling that it'll be the beginning of a lot of great things for a lot of people.
yes,
You know,
I 1000% agree.
yeah, the people that come with us, I really feel, and it might not even be through the workshops, something magical will
Oh,
happen to them along the way,
yes,
you know,
yes, yes. And it'll be when you don't expect it.
and exactly when you don't
That's
expect
how
it.
you remember it. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's a quick run through. So if anyone, you know, wants to have a look at that itinerary, as I said, go to Secret Ireland Tours LLC.com and look for Healing Wisdom with a Celtic Druidess, and you'll be able to see the itinerary and take your time and just look over it and see what you
Yeah.
think, and then contact us or contact Mary Jane. Again, we're only taking 24 people, and I know we're getting inquiries. I've got names on the list already, Mary Jane.
Yeah, I had someone contact me last night, so I got to be about that after this. Yeah.
Yeah, but
So yeah,
it will be a great experience and a great learning curve for the whole lot of us probably, and I'm sure Rachel will probably learn an awful lot as well, you know.
that's the beautiful thing when you bring a bunch of healers and mediums and that together. It's an experience of remembering who we are and who we were, and maybe at one time we were together.
And her whole thing is about learning about your own DNA and your
Right.
own inner self.
Oh,
That's her most important. That's her find yourself. Your most
yep.
important thing is reconnecting with your own DNA, and she does that through all these different methods of healing.
And that's what so many of us are looking for today. And I know so many of the women that I work with, that's the first question: who am I? And what better way to learn than
Yeah,
through coming with us here to Ireland and to work with Rachel.
yeah. Rachel is really she's definitely a unique individual, and God love her. At the moment, her mother fell and broke her ankle or
Oh
her
no.
wrist, so she's working with her now at the moment. She's looking after her. So we're hoping that we'll have well, what we're going to do actually with Rachel is we're going to do a series of these programs, and she will be taking each workshop and talking about it.
Oh, that's
So people
wonderful.
will have a good idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be great to introduce you all together, and I love this. I love kind of getting people that are, you know, of the same vein
Right.
introduced to each other and making connections.
Oh yes, I love doing that myself. I
Yeah,
love it myself, and that I'm just so grateful to you, Meg. All of us are who are coming on board and
I know it will.
traveling there with you.
It will be it will be a great tour. It'll be a great time. Great time will be had by all, Mary Jane.
Well, I tell you, like I said, it was May of 2019, and we're getting up to May of 2022, and every day of my life, my trip there has changed my life and made it better. So great memories, great learning, but the biggest thing is you're just going to have such a wonderful spiritual awakening
Yes.
that you never had before. I mean, I'm telling the truth. You are going to experience something that is there aren't words. You have to come and
You have
experience
to
it
see it.
yourself.
And it's kind of like, it's exactly the same thing as, so many people would have said on the tour, photographs don't do it justice.
No,
Talking about it doesn't do it justice. You have
no,
to
I got to be
actually
there.
it, you know.
You
And
have to be
I'm
there.
really blessed that I'm from Ireland, and I'm
Yes.
I'm very grateful for that fact, you
And
know.
that's what makes it so special, because you know Ireland, you're the heart of Ireland, and to learn it from someone who really lives there and breathes it, and it's a completely different experience. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Well,
can't wait.
Mary Jane, it was great to talk to you, and
Good talking to you, May.
we will be talking again, because more than likely we'll get you on when I'm talking to
Oh
Rachel.
yeah,
We'll probably do the three of us together at some stage when
that
she
sounds
gets
fun.
time to get this, get her, because again, the woman is very busy as well. So,
Sure.
but she is a unique character, and I think you're going to absolutely enjoy her.
Oh, I know. I already know. It's not a problem. I
All
can't
right.
wait to be here. All right, May. Thank you
So
so
I want
much.
to just, I want to just tell your listeners, this is sponsored by Secret Ireland Tours, chatting with Mary Jane Brigger, and the tour, once again, for anyone who's interested in it, is called Healing Wisdom with a Celtic Druidess, and you can find it on Secret Ireland Tours LLC.com. If you want to contact Mary Jane for anything, you can go on her website, maryjanebrigger.com. Is there any other Facebook? You've got a Facebook page?
Facebook. They will also find out information about the trip on Facebook, and that is Mary Jane Brigger at Facebook.
And please like and share. If you have any
Yes,
comments
please.
to make, or if you have any questions to ask, please feel free to do so as well. And hopefully we'll see some of you in
Yes,
2023. All
I'm
right,
sure
Mary
we
Jane.
will. All
All
right,
right.
everyone.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.